afternoon. It is week 24, and I am here with the lovely Dr. Kelly. And it's week 24, and we are still in a pandemic. It's crazy. But this week has been really crazy because first we had the unfortunate, horrible, horrible shooting of another black man
in the back.
7 times in front of his children. And not big kids, little kids. I just don't get it. I was like, is Kenosha, Wisconsin on another planet and didn't hear what was going on in the rest of the world? Like, I just can't understand. Where were these police officers' heads?
And then after that, this guy came from, was it Illinois, and shot 2 protesters.
Wait. No. You need to phrase this correctly. The young man, and I use young man loosely because he's a boy, really. I think he was 16, they said, right?
Or 17, something like that, yeah.
Your mic keeps doing this strange thing. You're going low. I don't know.
Let me get it. Let me get it.
There you are.
Let me get my headphones.
Okay. So you guys, I want to make sure you understand and you're very clear. This boy, really what he was, his mother drove him, which is what really tells you how old he was. His mother drove him to Kenosha, Wisconsin from Illinois. For what I'm still confused on, because there was no reason that he needed to be there. But his mother drove him, which is, like I said, that's why he's a boy, because his mama drove him. And he went to protest and save businesses that don't have nothing to do with him. Like, it just made no sense. So what does he do, you guys? He kills 2 people and shoots the arm off of a third. He's in juvie, 1. 2, the conservatives have gotten behind him. 3, there's a GoFundMe that has raised large sums of money for him. He killed 2 innocent protesters that were peacefully protesting. Not looting, not throwing. They were protesters peacefully protesting. And wait a minute. And his mother is free. Now, you need to explain to me why she's not under the jail, because you were the adult in this situation.
So she drove him and let him get out of the car with that gun.
You let him get in the car with it. So, I am just... Okay, so that was the beginning. And then, last night, we lost our king. King T'Challa, the Black Panther. Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, my brother called me like devastated because he was a young guy, only 43.
43 years young. Did you realize when I was talking to you last night, I was really wrong. He got engaged October 2019. But according to his family and the statements they've released, they did get married before he died.
Whew, it's been a rough day. I see people like posting on social media about it, and I just haven't had the energy to put words to how I'm feeling. It's just a lot. It's just been too much.
But I mean, one, I will say that, you know what? I forgot to tell everyone, we are a very broken country. Thank you to whom that is on Twitch, Millie Foo. I forgot to please, because see, Kelly's so good at this. I'm horrible. Please comment, like, and start a watch party. There we go. And so it just blows my mind that we honestly are here today and still having the same discussion. Besides the fact that the young man that murdered, let's be honest, these poor protesters is being treated so terribly different than if it was the other way around.
Of course. So, I was hearing that I think the Milwaukee Bucks, or I think that's what their
Yes,
name is. I don't
yes,
really follow
basketball
basketball.
team. Yes.
Yeah, that they in protest, or they didn't turn up for their game,
Their playoff game.
their
Let's be
playoff
clear.
game. Yeah.
So the whole NBA has basically decided to shut it down, and a lot of other professional sports teams have followed suit, including the tennis players. Did you hear Naomi Osaka? I believe that's how you pronounce her last name.
Hmm.
And then I think Coco. Several have just been like, nope. And so I think that this is really, like I said, I really believe, a lot of crazy, horrible things have happened in 2020, but all of it, none of it's going to be in vain.
Yeah.
George Floyd won't be in vain. Breonna Taylor, I do believe that those people are still walking free. Will not be in vain.
And I just thought about it. What happened to the guy who got killed in Atlanta right after George Floyd happened? Rashawn, or I forgot what his name.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
It just seems that something keeps happening over like every couple of weeks.
So much, it's just you get pushed and pushed. But none of them will be in vain because things are really changing. I don't know the last time that the NBA like just said forget it and shut down. I don't know if it ever happened. Did you see the clip? Oh, I should have pulled it. Kenny Smith walked off the set.
Yes, I saw that too.
He's never done that. So there's been so many things that I think that something is happening. It's some change is happening. Something's happening. It's not going to be we wake up in 2021 and everything's back to the way it was in 2019. No, I think that there are some real changes happening in 2020. Real tough discussions are happening that probably should have happened a long time ago. But the fact of the matter is they're happening now. So I do believe that. Now, back to Chadwick Boseman. Besides the fact he was just an amazingly talented young man, because he was, but he was really smart too. And I don't know if you ever hold on, I'm gonna mess this up. Yep. I don't know if you caught the commencement speech that he did.
I caught some of it, and like I was close to tears. Like I've been kind of like trying to process it today, but when I saw that, I was like, wow. And to think that he was ill when he did all of these movies over the last 4 years. And a few things that I've taken away.
Movies since
his
diagnosis.
A few things I've taken away from from him and his story and his life's work is that, like he's had such an impact over on all of us, and he really walked and continued to walk in his purpose even when he was ill, and like nobody knew. We saw him looking kind of like he lost weight, and we were all speculating maybe he was prepping for a new role, but he was ill and still walking in his purpose. And then also, like, he's just 3 years older than me. It makes me think like I really have to seize the moment.
They made his eye only for a few more hours because tomorrow's my birthday. But yes, I am 43 and I just can't believe. But he did, granted, he did a whole lot in the time that the Lord gave him. 6 movies in 4 years is a lot for a lot of actors and actresses, and 6 big movies, not little, like big movies. He played James Brown. He played I think Marshall was about Thurgood Marshall. I want to say, I don't think I saw Marshall. I need to watch that.
I think I saw it, yeah.
Yeah, but he had large, big roles.
Even the latest Spike Lee movie as well.
Five Bloods, he did that. And, he did no press for that. And that probably should have been our red flag that something wasn't right, because he's not that kind of celebrity per se. He's from South Carolina, like our good friend Eva. And so I just, that should have been a thing. But I will say the commencement speech, I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I have to share with you one part of it that is so important and so me that I was like, yes, he is spot on. But at the time of the commencement speech, it was 2018. He was diagnosed in 2016. So he had already been fighting and he already knew. So I just want to share that with you guys. Hold on a little bit here. I forgot some part of this. That's what I forgot.
I thought of Ali in the middle of the yard. in his elder years, drawing from his victories and his losses. At that moment, I realized something new about the greatness of Ali and how he carried his crown. I realized that he was transferring something to me on that day. He was transferring the spirit of the fighter in me. He was transferring the spirit of the fighter to me. He was transferring the spirit of the fighter to me. Sometimes you need to feel the pain and sting of defeat to activate the real passion and purpose that God predestined inside of you. God says in Jeremiah, I know the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Graduating class, hear me well on this day. When you have reached the hilltop and you are deciding on next jobs, next steps, careers, further education, you would rather find purpose than a job or career. Purpose crosses disciplines. Purpose is an essential element of you. It is the reason you are on the planet at this particular time in history. Your very existence is wrapped up in the things you are here to fulfill. Whatever you choose for a career path, remember the struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for your purpose. When I dare to challenge the system that would relegate us to victims and stereotypes with no clear historical backgrounds, no hopes or talents, when I questioned that method of portrayal, a different path opened up for me. The path to my destiny. When God has something for you, it doesn't matter who stands against it. God will move someone that's holding you back away from a door and put someone there who will open it for you. If it's meant for you, I don't know what your future is, but if you're willing to take the harder way, the more complicated one, the one with more failures at first than successes, the one that has ultimately proven to have more meaning, more victory, more glory, then you will not regret it. Now, this is your time. The light of new realization shines on you today. Howard's legacy is not wrapped up in the money that you will make, but the challenges that you choose to confront. As you commit to your past, press on with pride and press on with purpose. God bless you. I love you, Howard. Howard forever.
Okay, so
That
I
was really
saw it. Yeah, it was so good, wasn't it? But I read Purpose Driven Life I think I've read it 2 or 3 times now, but I read it. It was like me and my sister read it together January when we start, and we read it together. We did the little assignments. And I tell people, I know what my purpose is. And so I do things in my purpose. And I've read books, and there's titles of books that say, your purpose will lead to profits. And that's why I can pay my bills and I can eat and stuff, because I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And so he did what he was supposed to do. He came here, he did it. I was a little frustrated that we didn't know, but because I like people to help us to spread the message, but that's okay, because in his death, we will spread the message. Kelly and I, as doctors, colon cancer was one of the curable cancers. There's not a whole lot, but that's one of them. But you have to catch it early. And colon cancer screenings, a lot of people have a lot of thoughts. It was funny. We were on the phone today with my friend, and she had no clue what a colonoscopy entailed until today. Wow. She goes, I thought it was just like a pap smear. And I said, not quite. Not quite. She goes, you go to sleep. I said, girl, yeah. She's like, what? We were just enlightening her today, me and my mom. But so in recent years, they have changed the colon cancer screening. We are really talking to Black people in particular because we are the ones that die the most from colon cancer. I think they said colon cancer is the third cancer as far as Black people in deaths of cancer. I think it's the third largest, third largest. And so they have recently changed the screenings. I forgot what year they changed them, but it used to be when you turn 50, you got to go get your colon cancer screening, colonoscopy. That is not the case anymore. That is not the case anymore. So if you have no history, you need to go at 45.
Mm-hmm.
Zero history at all. You need to start your screenings at 45. After you have that one at 45, it'll be, they'll review it and then they'll decide when you need to come back because you might not have to go every year, I think. You might be able to wait before you come back again, but you need to go at 45 for that first screening. So that's very important to know. Kelly, what's the next thing we need to know?
If you have a family member who had colon cancer under the age of 60, so a first degree relative like parents, children, siblings, if one of them had colon cancer under the age of 60, you need to go. Or if you have two first degree relatives who've had colon cancer at any age, you need to go for your first colonoscopy 10 years after that relative had colon cancer. Or
10 years before.
Sorry, 10 years before. So for example, if your relative had colon cancer at 60, you have to go at 50. So 10 years before that relative had colon cancer or at age 40, whichever one comes first. So say your relative had colon cancer at age 60, 10 years before that is 50, but 40 comes first. So you go at age 40.
There was a young lady in one of the groups I'm in. Her mother had it, I think she said at 35, and she has had to fight to get her colonoscopy. And guess how old she is now? 30. So she has fought for 5 years because she knew she needed to go at 25. She's fought for 5 years to finally get them to say, oh, okay. So she is going to have it soon.
The same thing happens with ladies and history of breast cancer and mammograms. Like having a first degree relative, maybe also having that gene for breast cancer puts you at a high risk. So, on average, they say you wait till age 40, but there's some women that need to have mammograms earlier as well. So,
and honestly, nowadays, I can honestly tell you, I've run out of fingers of friends of mine that have had breast cancer before we were 40. So it is really, really, really important that you make sure you know your family history. And if you don't know your family history, that you stay on top of going to the doctor and getting all your checkups and all your annual exams and all your tests and know exactly what tests you need to have when. We have a watcher here, a viewer, David Alexander, said his dad had colon cancer at 35, so he got tested at 25. So, David, you could help me out. I don't think you had to get tested every year after that, did you? Or was there, your test was okay in 25, so they told you come back in 10 years or something. So let us know.
I think high risk people, they say every 3 to 5 years.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I didn't think it's every year. I think it's
but, I'm trying not to get emotional because a lot of these guidelines were not written for us.
No.
A lot of these guidelines, when they looked at population studies, as a minority in this country, they were testing Caucasian people. A lot of these guidelines were not written for us. So you need to find a doctor who knows how to treat Black people. I'm going to say plainly, you have to find a doctor who knows how to treat people of color.
Yes. And that's why, people know, obviously, I do a whole lot. Kelly writes for Black Doctor and has been on with me as well. But I do Black Doctor Facebook Lives. But that's why Black Doctor is so important. You can go to blackdoctor.org and you can find Black doctors. If you want to visit their website, just Google. Talk to people. Talk to another Black person and ask them. See, he says he goes back every 5 years. So talk to another Black person or something, but just don't. I'm telling you, the earlier you find these things, the better. Chadwick Boseman, his family did state that he was diagnosed with stage 3 in 2016. Now, if you don't know anything about cancer, 1 and 2 are early, 3 and 4 is a rough go. God willing, you can survive it, but a lot of people don't. So they said when he died at stage 4. So it had progressed.
I wanted to share before we go, the symptoms of colon cancer. Some common symptoms would be abdominal pain, blood in the stool. Like blood in the stool could be caused by so many things, like just simple hemorrhoids can lead to blood in the stool. So I'm not saying once you see blood, you have cancer, but at least you need to raise this to your physician. Change in bowel habits, constipation, narrowing of your stools because of like a constriction, the stool comes out narrower. Having anemia or fatigue or, unintentional or unexplained weight loss. Some of those things are symptoms of colon cancer.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? I think we should also talk about exactly what is a colonoscopy, just so people, like I said, I ran into somebody whom I've known for a long time that I didn't know. She didn't know. But colonoscopy, they give you a preparation that is basically a laxative. You have to drink it the night before, and you have to drink all of it. It's usually a big gallon, actually, and you have to drink all of it. You go the next day for your colonoscopy, and they put you to sleep. It's propofol. We don't need to talk about it because happy birthday, Michael Jackson, but propofol. You have twilight sleep, as they call it. You're not fully asleep, but you're asleep enough. And they stick a tube in your rear, and it's got a camera on it. And that way, that's how they look at your entire colon. The colon is it 40 feet?
A lot.
It's a lot. It's a really, really long. And it's wrapped around. So that's why you have the small intestines, the large intestine, the colon, it's very large. So, okay. So that's why they do it this way. And then they can inspect and see if they see polyps. Sometimes they pull them while they're in there.
5 feet. 5 feet.
Oh, the colon's 5 feet? Okay. The colon's 5 feet. It's the intestine that's large. So
that's
yeah.
still long. 5 feet is still a lot.
5 feet is my whole body. You're right.
Imagine that, right?
You're right.
Somebody's
You're right.
body.
Inside your body. It's a lot. Yeah. So 40 inches or so, that's where the 40 came from. Okay. So, but yeah, so so that's what they do. And then they take pictures while they're in there. I think they usually have video of it or whatever, but that's what they do.
And also, if they see any polyps, sometimes they take the polyps out
right
to do
then,
biopsies as well. Your gastroenterologist is the one that does that. Your primary care doctor can easily refer you for a screening colonoscopy, and your insurance company is supposed to pay for that.
Yeah. So definitely make sure you talk to them if that is a problem, because they should pay for it. Like I said, they're changing the guidelines. Whenever you hear changing guidelines, that means insurance usually is going to be the last on the totem pole to figure that out. So they might give you a little pushback, like you're not 50, you don't need us to pay for this. But Black people need to go at 45 or earlier
if you have that family history of colon cancer.
So please. I know actually a couple people that have had colon cancer and survived because it was found early. So please make sure that you have a discussion with your physician, and make sure your physician understands the guidelines for you. Because if they don't, then maybe that's not the physician for you. That's the physician for someone else. But, this is why we do say, there was an article came out this week, right, about Black babies that are preemies survive better when they have Black doctors. I don't know.
At the start, when I saw that article, I thought about something that happened to me a couple months ago. You know about this. At the start of, what was it, April or May, when the whole George Floyd thing happened, it began a lot of dialogue between people of different races about what is racism, what is structural racism, systemic racism. And Dr. Renee was on my show, and she made a comment that she had Black doctors. And one of my non-Black followers sent me this very long, scathing message. How dare we come on here and say that? Isn't that being racist? But when you see data like that says that a Black preemie is more likely to survive if they have a Black doctor, we're not making this up. We're not turning everything into race. No. It is about race.
No, it is. And I know somebody who was less than 30 that had felt something in her breast and went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, oh no, you're too young. Guess who ended up a couple years later diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer?
So you have to advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
Anyone, black, white, green,
Anybody, yes.
We all have to advocate for ourselves when it comes, to your health. And, I've been a patient as well as a physician. And even as a patient who has the knowledge of a doctor, I still had to step in and advocate for myself.
Right.
So please ask the right questions. Please make sure that you're informed about whatever treatment your doctor is recommending, side effects of medication, what is the expected outcome, time frame, ask all of the necessary questions. There's so many people that I come in, like I had a patient, I treat diabetes. I had a patient a couple of days ago. So I'm like, I break it down very simply. Has your diabetes affected any other part of your body? No. Then I asked, when was your last eye appointment? A year ago. Oh yeah, I've been getting injections because I have bleeding in the back of my eyes. I said, okay. Oh yes, and I also have a kidney doctor. So I was like, so that means that your diabetes has affected your kidneys and your eyes, right? So sometimes we don't put it all together. So make sure that you ask the correct questions. You ask any question that you have to your doctor. Some people don't even know what medications they're taking or what the medication is for. Like, we need to do better for ourselves, for our health.
Exactly.
And if you have an older relative, and I'm going on and on, like, please be involved in your parents' like medical stuff. Like sometimes they can't keep it all together. So as a child, please go to if you can. No, you probably can't. But before we can do this again, like go to your parents' appointments with them, so that you know what's going on with your parents as well. Because so many older people come into my office and they're struggling. They take the wrong doses. They take 2 tablets instead of half a tablet. Like, it's crazy. So please.
Yeah, there's so many different things out there to help you with stuff like that and to help your family with stuff like that. Like you said, it's very difficult nowadays to accompany people. But you really, especially if you have to go to the hospital, please try to have an advocate with you. If you go to get, news that's not so good, you need to have someone on speakerphone or something, because sometimes when you get bad news, you can't hear anything, but the other person heard everything and they got the information that you needed. So, but like I said, I hope that if nothing, one, we will understand how to live life, because Chadwick Boseman I'm sure he fought to stay here. They said while he was doing these movies, he was going through chemo and surgeries. There is a picture of him. It's a Black Panther picture of him, and you can see the scar on his stomach. So, so he was fighting, but at the same time that he was fighting, he was also living his life. And so he left a whole lot for us. I feel terrible for his widow because she's very young widow. And I think they were together 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. But just horrible to be such a young widow, and they didn't have any children yet. But prayers to his family and prayers to the Blake family. Thank God the police did not kill the young man. We did forget to mention that Jacob Blake is not dead, but he is paralyzed from the waist down. And that is unfortunate, considering he was walking away and going to get in his car. So that's horrible. Pray for his children, who will never be the same because they witnessed their father being shot down by the police. So every time they close their eyes, they'll see that. So pray for that family, and just pray for our Black men that they can just walk around and not have to worry about what's going to happen to them. They can exercise, they can walk, they can, what is the other things, just all these things, walk around eating Skittles. They can do things that everyone else does without being concerned about, am I going to die today? So, right. So definitely just pray for the country. We didn't even talk about the RNC was this week, but it was just such a crap show, because I'm not going to curse because I don't do that live. It was just, I knew it was a crap show when the little bits I watched, MSNBC had to interject afterwards and say, okay, so we didn't want to pick this apart, but we wanted to make sure that the truth was out there instead of these lies that these people are telling. That's when I knew, because I watched the DNC and I didn't see anything like that. But the RNC, these people just were shoveling the poop onto the stage. So anybody who supports the occupant, I need to throw extra prayers for you, because I don't know what is wrong with you, but something is truly wrong. That's all I can say. Because he even stood up and called it the China virus at the RNC. I was like, oh my God, this man is a fool. But whatever. Please go vote November 3rd. It's November 3rd. I think I said the wrong date on another show because my sister corrected me. It's November 3rd. Please go vote. Biden, Harris. Kamala Harris came from the illustrious Howard University, just like Chadwick Boseman. Clearly that school knows what they're doing. So everyone, have a great week. We will see you again next week for week 25.
Bye.